let's talk about money. Today we're going to lift the lid on the secret world of doctors' salaries. The thing is, I've actually been told not to make this video, but I figure the truth needs to come out, so... Okay, so I didn't actually get asked not to make this, and this information is relatively easy to find online, but I do promise to make this video mildly more entertaining than just reading out a PDF with lots of numbers on it. I know you're undoubtedly here for the juicy details, so let's just dive right in with the salary of a doctor fresh out of medical school. At this level, they start in something called foundation training. This is where you work in different jobs, covering different specialities for your first 2 years. All doctors in the UK must do this before they choose where to specialise in. It's a way to give you some experience with different teams, and also a taster of what life might be like if you chose a medical type of job as opposed to a surgical type of job, for example. A first-year foundation year doctor who went straight into completing medical school after doing their A-levels without any gap year and did 5 to 6 years at medical school would usually be around 23 to 24 years old. Though of course they could be much older depending on when they started medical school. Their basic salary starts at £28,808, and that works out to about an hourly rate of £13.85. But this number doesn't give you the whole story, and it does get pretty confusing, so not many people are actually on that amount. It's usually about 5 to 10% higher, and the exact value is calculated dependent on something called banding. This is the way that doctors are reimbursed for shifts worked on a weekend, and it does get really complicated, so I'll try and give you an example to illustrate this. Typically, an F1 doctor works 3 different jobs in a year, each of 4 months, and each job will have different banding, as they might have different on-call commitments. The more you work, the higher banding you will receive. Let's say they worked 4 months in a medical job, such as respiratory medicine, and they worked every 3 to 4 weekends. They would be paid an extra 7.5%, which is £2,161, if they did this job all year round. But as this specific job is only for 4 months, we divide this number by 3, which gives £720 for that 4-month placement. And let's say their next job is a surgical job such as vascular surgery, and that's for another 4 months. And let's say that this involved working every 4 to 5 weekends. This would be paid an extra 6%, which is £1,729. Again, divided by 3, that would be £576. And let's say their final 4-month job was in psychiatry, which might involve working every 5 to 6 weekends. This would be paid an extra 5%, which is £1,441 divided by 3, which is £480. So for this person, adding all of their extra banding would boost their total salary to a total of £30,584. Working out the hourly rate from this is even more complicated though, because the extra weekend hours vary depending on the type of job. But if you look at them in total, it actually reduces the hourly rate, so you're actually earning closer to about £12 or maybe £13 an hour. So that's what a first-year doctor earns. Now, a lot has been said, and will continue to be said, about whether this amount of pay is fair. The obvious argument is that doctors have had 5 to 6 years of highly skilled training in medical school. And if you were to compare this to the hourly rate of other jobs in less highly skilled areas, you might think this isn't right. But we live in a capitalist world with a socialist healthcare system, so unfortunately this disparity will always exist. And doctors can't exactly go on strike, because then we'd be seen as money-grabbing dirtbags with no respect for people's dignity. Or moe medics, as we are affectionately referred to in the press. I guess the counter-argument is that we have career and pay progression. So while we're on this subject, let's take a look at how your pay increases as you progress through your training. After the F1 year, you enter F2, and your basic pay increases to a rate of £33,345. But again, we have to consider the banding, so you can expect this number to go up in reality. If we had jobs with a similar number of on-calls as the example I gave with F1, this could increase the total to £35,402, as you can see in the example here. After you complete the 2 years of foundation training, you can choose to specialise if you'd like to. Your pay then increases every 2 to 3 years roughly. In your first 2 years of specialist training, your basic pay would be £39,467. And again, banding applies, so in a specialty with frequent on-calls like paediatrics, With on-calls every 2 to 3 weekends maybe, this might be boosted by 10% to give you £43,414. You could compare this to a specialty with fewer on-calls, such as, let's say, ENT surgery, and let's say they have on-calls every 4 to 5 weekends. That would give a 6% boost to give a total of £41,835. The next jump in pay is between years 3 to 5 of specialist training, where the basic salary rate is £50,017. If you take the example of paediatrics again, with on-calls every 2 to 3 weekends with a 10% boost, that would give a total of £55,018. However, there is another form of payment boost for certain specialities which are in need of trainees, for example emergency medicine, general practice and psychiatry. They all get an additional payment in the later stages of their training to try and make these options more appealing to work in. Let's look at emergency medicine as an example here, where you might be expected to work every 2 to 3 weekends. That would give you a 10% boost from the £50,000 to £55,000. But in the final 3 years of training, you also get an additional £7,289 per year. So if you're in ST4, you would get a total of £62,307 per year. Now let's compare this payment boost to general practice, where you get an additional £8,965 per year if you're doing an actual GP job as opposed to a hospital job. This basically covers the fact that GP trainees don't receive any banding, as they aren't expected to work lots of weekend shifts in their training in GP. To give an example of this, a GP registrar will usually be in an actual GP job for about 18 months of the 3-year training program. So this is what their pay would look like in each stage of their training, from ST1 to ST3. There's one more boost to pay that affects any trainees working in London, as they're given an extra £2,162 per year. This is to do with the extra cost of living in London. The final jump in payment occurs in the final years of training at registrar level, from ST6 to ST8, where the basic pay rate starts at £56,077. Again, this will be boosted according to the frequency of on-calls. So here are some examples of what the final boosted salary would be. So there you have it. As you can see, it does get pretty complicated. I haven't even gone into how the payslip looks. This is just the pay that doctors receive before taxes and pensions and student loans are taken off. The final net monthly take-home pay is obviously less than this, and I might do a separate video breaking down those figures. Let me know if you might find that interesting in the comments below. If you did like this video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos like this. If you're interested in knowing what I keep in my doctor's bag, check out this video up here. And if you want to know what my advice is on how to avoid burnout, check out this video over here. And I guess I'll catch you next time. See ya!